I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open public meeting, Zach Staben.
I just think this meeting was set for subject times and legislated on February 2nd, 2025. This meeting is being videotaped and made available.
Roll call.
Mr. Guerrero?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here.
Mr. Marsh?
Here.
Mayor?
Here. We're going to start with a resolution. Motion to approve Resolution 8525, authorizing promotion of Sergeant Andrew Myers to the rank of lieutenant, effective June 23rd, 2025.
Make a motion. Second.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
Yes. Mike?
I want to welcome everyone here tonight. My name is Chief Accessory. It's a very special night for us as we fill a very important leadership position in our department, and I want to thank the Mayor and Council for allowing us to do that. I just want to read a little biography about soon-to-be Lieutenant Myers. I previously worked for the Gibbsboro Police Department, before being hired by Franklin Township in 2012. He oversees the Support Services Division, which includes the Detective Bureau, Traffic Safety Unit, School Resource Officers, the Chaplain Program, Crossing Guard Program, and the K-9 Unit. He also serves as a radar instructor, ALPR liaison, a Ride Together liaison, UD liaison, the FTO coordinator, and the Highway Traffic coordinator. Lieutenant Myers grew up in Gloucester City and graduated from Gloucester High in 2004. He is a 2008 graduate of the Gloucester County Police Academy, where he graduated as an alternate group recruit. He has an associate's degree from Rowan College and a bachelor's degree from Farley Dickinson University. He resides in Franklin Township with his wife Renee. In his spare time, he enjoys coaching youth baseball and spending time with his family. On a personal note, Lieutenant Myers has volunteered many years coaching baseball down Pennsylvania Avenue for our Little League, even before his nephew was old enough to play, which shows his dedication to our community, and we're real happy to put him in this position now.
You solemnly swear that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all duties of lieutenant for the Franklin Township Police Department, and lieutenant for the Franklin Township Police Department to the best of my ability. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and I will bear true faith and allegiance, to the same, and to the government established in the United States. The government established in the United States and in this state. Under the authority of the people, so help me God. So help me God.
We're going to take a 10-minute break. Matt,
Thank you, everyone.
ready?
Yep.
Thank you for that. Can I get a motion for a public hearing on the following ordinance? Ordinance 0425, ordinance to amend Chapter 253-50A of the Code of the Township of Franklin to eliminate additional depth requirements for conforming lots consistent with the recommendations contained within the 2024 Master Plan Reexamination Report.
Motion. 0425. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to close ordinance 425? Public
Motion to
hearing?
close. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve ordinance 0425?
Motion to approve 0425. Second.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
Yes. Can I get a motion to open the public portion for ordinance 525 to amend chapter 253 of the Code of the Township of Franklin? It's not time for that. It's not time for that. Ordinance 525. Ordinance to amend Chapter 253 of the Code of the Township of Franklin to revise standards for accessory structures consistent with the recommendations contained within the 2024 Master Plan Reexamination Report.
Motion to open up for public hearing. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is it about this ordinance?
I'm confused on some of the verbiage on it. Oh, sorry. I'm Kelly Zoppo, I live at 45 Cedar Road. So, the way I'm reading it, my biggest concern about it is everything's supposed to be in the back of the property. But I live not on a corner lot, but I live next to a corner lot. So the back of their property is my bedroom. It's right in that. And I'm not the only one. I want an undersized lot, I want a quarter acre. And I want to know how that's going to work for lots like mine. That there's a lot of them in like your village district over the Forest, over off of Marshall over. So they've got a smaller lot size. So I'm just concerned that, somebody puts a garage up. Well, that's basically in my master bedroom.
If depending upon the size of their lot, they would be limited to where they could put the structure, how many feet off the property line and all that.
And I read that, and like I said, it's really only given, it's not much for that. I mean, he's got a half acre, I've got a quarter acre, so he can put a 1,200 square foot, which is bigger than his house, up against my fence, which is 5 feet off the property. And I think that
I have it. He would have to be at least 7 to 10 feet off your property line.
right, but then that's going in towards where the septic and everything is on his.
Well, then he
So
wouldn't be
is
able to
there
build
any
one there.
setback
Then they
on-
wouldn't be able to do that.
Yes.
How many feet go off the septic, just for my,
You can't build on top of your septic,
Well, I know
so.
it can't be on top of it, how many feet would it have to be from the septic, is what I was just curious about.
Yeah, that's
15? Yeah,
from a fuel bed.
yeah, but that's still, I mean, it's just one of those things that, I think it's kind of a gray area that might need to be reworked and readdressed, because I know I'm not the only person with a lot like this, there's a lot of lots, especially down in other areas where their lots are, half acre, quarter acre, per acre, all that, you can't really fit these sizes on these lots, and people will push it to the limit, if they can.
Right. If it doesn't fit, they're not gonna be able to build it.
Well, I've seen ones that don't. Is there any way we could rework this to sort of, for these oddly shaped lots and different shaped lots that maybe, that we could work something that so that, it's not, like, how many feet can it be from a house? Like, can you have a setback or something like that? Because that's only 15 feet from my house, from the edge of my house. And that's not really a lot of room, even though it's the back of his property, it's 15 feet from my house.
Well,
That's not even-
your house should be so many feet off the property line already, correct?
My house is 10 feet off of where
Off
the
the-
fence line is, and then where the fence is 5 feet from the property line.
So he'll be 20 feet, if you put the building, he'll be 20 feet from your house.
Yeah, but that's only a driveway width, that's not very much. See what I'm saying? And if he goes it higher than my furniture, he could be looking right in my window if he wants to.
Wait, listen, I understand completely, but why should someone else have to conform because you're a lot smaller than
It's
his?
not just mine.
You would-
There's
you would
many
affect
lots like
him.
this. There's many lots that are smaller, that are on a corner. My first
Right.
house in Forest Lakes on Greenwood and Edgewood, we had to tear our shed down because it was 10 feet from the property line. So, I'm just saying that, if we work something for these undersized lots, there's a lot of them in the town, believe it or not. I know we've amended a lot of them, but these older homes, I think we have to make some amendments on them. That's all I'm asking, to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, you want to do that when I take this thing? Yeah, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You want to do it now, Mike?
I'm gonna make a motion, 0525, to table that ordinance.
I have a motion to table ordinance 0525. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
Do I need a roll call on that, Matt?
Fiorello?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Mayor, just point of clarification, are we referring to back to the planning board?
Yes,
We
refer
have
that back to.
correct?
Yes, let's go to authorize sending it back to the planning board for additional review, because this ordinance originated there. So-
All these ordinances there, I believe.
Right. That's part of this plan. Okay.
Can I get a motion to refer this back to the planning board, ordinance 525?
Make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
With comments, correct, Matt?
Yes.
Mike, got that?
Yes, I'll make the comments. All right.
And just to be clear, it's likely that any alteration would have to be reintroduced.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Ordinance 625, amending Article 8 of the Code of the Township of Franklin, known as Land Use Residential Agricultural District, RA, Chapter 253, Article, what was that, 8, Mark? 13, God. Consistent with the recommendation contained within the 2024 Master Plan Reexamination Report.
Motion to open the public, 0625.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good evening. Dawn, by the way? I have questions about the residential district, amending it. I was wondering what exactly is changing, because I thought the master plan recommended this clarification on making sure that it's consistent with the definition of a major and a minor subdivision in another section of the code. This seems to have a lot more going on, so I wasn't sure exactly what these changes mean.
Matt?
That came to us from the planning board, from the planning board solicitor, based on the master plan examination. So we took what they did from the master plan examination report. She generated the ordinances, they were sent to Mr. Honor and myself. Looking here, they approved them for them.
And that was the intent, was to make it less ambiguous, and again, the language was drafted through that process. We've not altered their recommendation.
So basically you're saying that, a minor subdivision, a residential subdivision on an existing street. Anything over 5 lots, I believe, is a neighbor?
5 or more.
Would have to see the, conservation, subdivision? That hasn't changed?
That's it, section.
So, and all the formulas for figuring out the number of lots that you can put in it, that type of subdivision, and the 75, 50% for open space, none of that is changing?
Again, it's, as it's set forth, the changes are underlined and crossed out. Response to your question.
Well, it kind of looks like just redundancy to me.
That, absolutely. It's poorly worded, it's difficult to interpret. That was the feedback we got from their process. Again, this process has to do with things that they see on a repeated basis, year after year. The goal of this undertaking is to reduce some of that through their knowledge and experience. And again, we have to procedurally do this, what we're doing here, and that's why the one that has to go back has to go all over.
So this one doesn't really change the requirements, it just clarifies it, makes it easier.
I'll make a motion to table.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. What was that one, 06? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 625?
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to adopt ordinance 625?
Motion to adopt 0625.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Before I open the public portion on ordinance 725 to amend chapter, what is that one, Mark? 21 of the Code of the Township of Franklin to promote rezoning commercial IC designations consistent with the recommendations contained within the 2024 Master Plan Reexamination Report. I have, someone wants to table that motion? Can I get a motion to table that?
Motion to table 0725.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Are we referring that back?
We're referring that back as well.
Can we clarify the basis on what we're, before we vote to refer it back, as to what we're referring back for?
There were some comments generated about buffer zones and such.
Are the planner will re-examine those issues?
Mr. Dockman has already been contacted about it, and he has sent some stuff back to Mr. Delaney, who's the solicitor for the board. So we'll turn this back to him also, and Mr. Marsh will give you comments on 0525.
It's very, very hard to hear you. If you could speak one time.
All right, so the comments we received, after publication or after introduction, Planner Dockney has reviewed. He has, suggestions on how to additionally clarify this. They'll have to go to the board. Once again, we'll have to get the board to redraft if they so choose.
And then they'll send it back to us, we'll have to re-advertise and then re-have a public
But he
hearing.
will make those, comments known directly to them.
Correct.
All right.
Thank you. Ordinance 825, can I get a,
Move to just send it, just to refer it formally.
can I get a motion to move ordinance,
To refer it.
to refer ordinance 725 back to the planning board?
Motion 0725, though, back to the planning board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ordinance 825 to repeal and replace Chapter 335 of the Code of the Township of Franklin entitled Stormwater Control to reflect amendments required by the NJDEP Stormwater Management Rules.
Motion open to public.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to close the public portion on ordinance 825?
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to adopt ordinance 825?
Motion to adopt 0825.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Barb, do we know the date of the hearing, the new hearing for these? There'll obviously be some more coming out, correct?
Well, so when these come back from the planning board, we'll have to reintroduce them, and then the hearing will be a month from there, so.
We have some others, though, to bring along too, correct?
More than likely, yes, sir.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve correspondence and reports?
Motion to approve correspondence and reports.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from May 13, 2025?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the bill list?
Motion to approve bill list.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Can I get a motion to approve raffles, Spirit and Truth Ministries, Oasis Animal Sanctuary, Pioneer Extra Point Club, Olma Green and Gold?
Motion to approve the raffles.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to open the first public portion for resolutions below?
Motion open the first public portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Dave Marshall, 67 New Road, Malaga. That's why nobody can hear me. Can everybody hear me all right?
Nobody want to hear you. How do you say this? Rito.
I just have a couple of questions about the emergency temporary budget resolution. Just because of the last 2 years, we've seen pretty consistent emergency budget resolutions, and the prices listed are almost identical. This year, there's some substantial increases in a couple of them. And I'm not faulting the police department at all. I think, again, we have the best police department around, but I'm just curious about some of the differences. We look at the one where we have a $400,000 increase on the one. It went from $300,000 2 years in a row to $400,000 more this year to $700,000.
It's later in the year, right? Or no?
Yeah, later in the year. And they probably, I don't know if there were transfers to that before, but from the CFO, it all comes based on the bills and POs that have come in.
That's all that is. Just money that we gotta pay. We gotta pay the
Oh, no, I
bills.
understand what it's for, but why such an increase when the last few years have been pretty consistent? What
Because
is-
we're
what's changed?
introducing this later in the year, so it costs more because we're paying more back into the year.
Or is it because of more officers? Is it because of shortfalls? I'm looking for some
It's a
clarification.
time difference. This is being introduced later than the original one was.
Yeah, by a month. So if it's a month, like, I can't understand the $400,000.
Well, if it was something like a health insurance bill or something, it would all depend on the time the bill comes.
Well, I understand that. That's a substantial increase there too, but, I mean, I'm just wondering, like I said, I'm just asking for some clarification. I'm sure a lot of us would like to know. You know, why is it such a difference? Do we hire more officers? Is our return on investment with you to actually get looked at? I mean, what's the reason?
We've hired more officers.
We had some contractual raises too.
I don't know if I use the term return on investment. You're referencing the shared services.
Yeah, I'm just using, throwing it out there, just trying to figure out a difference.
But it brings to Paul's question, there was a significant review and analysis of the shared service policing agreements, comprehensive to include all costs, not just salary and wages, but all attenuated costs. And when those agreements expired, they were adjusted to the benefit of the township.
Which it should be.
Right, so there was a leveling up, so to speak. So that was done, that was very time consuming, and I was only tangentially involved, but I know we've had some changeover since that time, but that was done on both, correct, on both of our police shared service.
Yes, new field.
Yeah, I do the studies and all that. I'm just asking.
There were significant increases on what we collected.
Okay, I'm just checking. All right, and then, I got a couple CME questions, because some of that increased. We do that here, or we'd like to do it the next portion?
CME increases?
I mean, there's increases here to engineering, and I didn't know if I could address it at this point, or you want to address it at the next part.
What, on the bill list or whatever?
Well, no, in this emergency, there's increases here towards, so I didn't know if you wanted me to address it in this section or the next one. And this is just thrown out there to make sure you guys are aware of it. I just picked a couple random months last year, and a couple random months this year. Our average per month last year was $21,000 we're paying CME a month. This year it's over $30,000. Some months we're hitting over $40,000. We don't have that many applications coming forward. Why do we need to give them that much money?
It's for road openings, it's for a bunch of things. It's for the station at Pennsylvania Avenue Park. That's in there, I think I saw that in there. So, I mean, it's bills that they've submitted and we've paid, and it's for stuff that they've done.
Okay.
There was a lot of road openings this month.
Like I said, that's why I'm asking for some clarification. because this is-
The landfill has also increased. The monitoring of the landfill on a quarterly basis has increased along with everything else.
What does that cost a year?
About 18.
$125,000?
Well in excess of 80,000.
Yeah, this year it's $140,000 more than last year in the landfill. I mean, it's like I said, there's some substantial jumps this year compared to.
In their own business.
No, you're talking about where we take the trash?
Well, I'm just.
No, we're talking
it has
about-
landfill, operating expense, so that's all, it doesn't give you anything more than that.
That's the one in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's all Pennsylvania.
The one that we closed with the monitoring wells.
But I mean, like I said, some substantial jumps this year from last year. And I said, we are a month different, when last year was in May, this year it's June, I understand.
I agree. It's very expensive and what's going on?
Just want to make sure you're aware of it and people are checking into it, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, the motion to close the first public portion.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolutions, can I get a motion to approve Resolution 8125, granting renewal of ABC licenses within the Township of Franklin?
Motion to close 8125.
Motion that approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 8225, authorizing the appointment of Connor Riley as SLEO 2 recruit to attend Gloucester County Police Academy beginning August 4th, 2025.
Motion to approve R 8225.
Second.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Resolution 8325, authorizing the CFO for temporary appropriation budget transfers.
Motion R 8325.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 8425, authorizing tax collector to mail estimated third quarter 2025 tax bills.
Motion R 8425.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 8625, authorizing elevation of Florencia Laredo, got that right, to full-time position within the Township of Franklin Municipal Court due to the resignation of Kimberly DeMarchi.
Make a motion for R 8625.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 8725, authorizing Chief of Police to assign one SRO, School Resource Officer, to the Ed Garden Christian Academy for the 2025-2026 academic school year.
Motion R 8725.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 8825, authorizing Chief of Police to assign two school resource officers to the Delsey Regional Schools for the 2025-2026 academic school year.
Motion R 8825.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 8925, authorizing the sale of surplus government property through the online auction format GovDeals.
Motion R 8925.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 9025, authorizing tax collector and CFO to issue tax refunds for overpayment of taxes on two properties.
Make a motion for R 9025.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 9125, authorizing the issuance of a duplicate tax sales certificate number 23-00018, comprising a lien on a property known as Block 1402, Lot 11.01.
Motion R 9125.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, motion to approve resolution 9225, authorizing the administrator and chief financial officer to apply for enrollment and participation in the Southern Jersey Power Cooperative.
Make a motion R 9225.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution 9325, authorizing the person-to-person transfer of plenary retail consumption license number 0805-33-010-005 from Pegasus 1 to Inc. to Arden Cell Incorporated.
Motion R 9325.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Can I get a motion to open the second public portion for comments?
Motion to open public portion.
Second.
Yes.
Good evening, Cindy Merckx, 330 Oak Avenue. First, I want to thank you guys for notifying the public, as I requested at the last meeting. I know many of them appreciated it, and I'm glad you guys were able to table the items that, just to go over again, so we're sure we get it right. I think that's important for all of us, as we all have that same agreement about keeping our township rural. I really, my main concern that I'm bringing to your attention, and I know that I used my newspaper to write about it, was warehousing. I live in that district. You're always going to hear that from me, naturally, because we're in the truck center. When I moved here 45 years ago, there were no, 55 didn't go north, so it made a big difference once that sound and the amount of traffic. It really did. What I am concerned about is the recommendations that were made by this new report. And in that, on page 41, was exactly where he recommends it's okay to put in these mega warehouses. Now, I know, Mayor, that you abstained when the planning board made that decision, and I appreciate that too, because I know it's coming here where your public is bringing their concerns to you. And I knew when you were on Delsey's board, you always took a time to listen to the teachers and everything else when things went bad, okay? And I understand that there are times when you can be patient with this. And I think that we got to be real careful about these mega warehouses. I mean, a lot of these people live along the highway, and they're not far from that, and that'll encroach on their properties. And I think these are just too large. It'll change everything. The other concern I have is that you know and I know that there was an EDC meeting prior to this 3 years ago, and it ballooned into this redevelopment zone. And this place was packed, and it'll be packed again, I believe, if we don't make, we got to get it right about the size of these warehouses. Small warehouses, that was one thing. But FMC years ago, Mike, I think you were on the force, that polluted the wells of Malaga Villa Apartments. They had to take that down. That was 100 people that were affected from a warehouse. That could be any one of them who live along this highway zone. So we got to get the warehousing right. And I'll be up here. 45 years I've lived here. I love this place. And I like that we can breathe out here. I know many other people do too. So I appreciate you tabling it and getting it back to them. Maybe we can all work together to find out what is a good solution here. Because otherwise we're going to have, something that maybe we don't want. It'll bring in sewer. We're looking at Elk above us. We're looking at Williamstown to the other side. Vineland, where Mr. Finley was, he's got all those nice warehouses that are empty. I'm sure they would love it. But let's get it right. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Harry Kennedy, 1578 Price Mill. The ordinance you tabled tonight in terms of changing the RA zone and highway commercial and interchange commercial, there are two exits from 55 in Franklin Township. One is on Little Mill Road, one is on Hardin Highway. Is the area on Little Mill Road, as I read the master plan, which was a pleasure to read, is that redesignated interchange commercial?
I think that's already, isn't that industrial or something over there?
I think but it's next to the interchange. I think the recommendation, and again, the recommendation from the master plan was somewhat, shall we say, sort of opposite recommendations. One was that the highway, the interchange commercial, be utilized to the greatest extent. The interchange commercial is Route 40, but I believe it's also Little Mill Road. Am I correct in that assumption, Cindy? I read it, but again, I don't claim to be a perfectionist in terms of my
I don't have the map that came along with that.
You're not aware of whether or not.
No, I don't. I just don't have the map to refer to.
So Little Mill Road, you can take my word and say.
No,
is interchange commercial then? Now, I know. Now the light goes on.
No,
Yeah, Little Mill Road. Well, again, we'll be discussing that.
It's a 20-foot wide road. I don't know why that would be.
Oh, you are so smart. Little Mill Road is not only a 20-foot wide road, but the property owners along Little Mill Road are a very varied lot, including Chew Farms and other pieces of property. There also was a recommendation, and Cindy, and I'm sure the environmentalists in the room remember, that there be no major warehouses put on any area that was a township road. And is Little Mill Road a township road, as I recall? Little Mill Road is a township road. So any development that would take place on Little Mill Road would need the approval of this township to very much approve. As you just said, Mr. Mayor, and it was one of the most insightful comments, and you've made many over the years, but that's a 20-foot right-of-way. So anything happening on Little Mill Road would take the ability of this Township Committee to very much widen that street, to affect the people that live there, and to enhance that road to whatever it would be. But your master plan committee suggested that nothing be done on township roads. It'll be a conundrum at some point, an amazing conundrum, and with the 5 of you up there, with one missing tonight, that'll be a real conundrum to satisfy. as to who the property owners are on that road and who stands to benefit and who stands to make an awful lot of money, or maybe already has. But it's an awful interesting conversation to have about insider trading and the ability to utilize what you know to make things happen. I'd take a very good look at who benefits from that happening. And I'm sure as hell it ain't the residents who are going to have a township street turned into whatever it might be. Again, take a very good look at that. But finally tonight, I want to compliment you. I don't get up here enough to say enough good things once in a while. First of all, the Delsey, Jake and I have this conversation because he is a great Delsey fan, football fan, great friend of the former football coach, soon to be Williamstown coach. But in any case, I know what a wonderful year they had in baseball and softball. And again, Matt, you got up here tonight and testified about the lieutenant and his part in the community. And again, high school coaches get a lot of credit and they deserve it. But the real credit goes to those volunteers that have produced that caliber of play at that Little League field, and those softball coaches and those baseball coaches, of which you and I used to do it, Jake. They have done an outstanding job. I don't know whether the girls won or not today. They were against the 5-time state champion. It was a very tough upward fight. But to get to that level for the second time since the 1980s was a fantastic accomplishment.
Boys and girls track and field,
right,
too.
Boys and girls track and field. Another example. Sal, Ron, those people. That girl setting the record and the state, winning the state javelin throw or discus throw, did a fantastic job. Thank you, Bart.
Thank you.
You were excellent at beeping that. But in any case, congratulations to all those people, and thank you for all your hard work. Take care and have a great night.
Thanks. What happened to the lady in the back? I thought you were coming up.
Good evening again. I want to thank you for tabling the ordinances that affect resident zoning and sending it back to the planning board. I think that's a great move. And I also would like to have our planner there to answer questions of the residents. And I'm going to assume that because it'll be sent back to the planning board, that at the planning board meeting, residents will get to make a comment for 5 minutes.
You need to talk to Chairman Pesh about that.
I don't think he wants to talk to me.
Well, I don't think I blame him, but no, I mean, would there be a comment section on that, Matt?
Again, it's not our agenda. I don't want to it's just not my place.
Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't answer that.
Okay. Yeah, I know they don't have a general public comment like we're doing right now at the end of the meeting. But if something's on the agenda, I would think you're going to open it up. And it would be nice to get the residents an understanding with the planner of how this all affects them and any other questions that they have. Yeah, once it goes...
The planner does normally come to those meetings, so...
Okay, or I know the engineer...
We'll just try to make sure that...
I'll make sure and I'll
send
emails tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I think those affected and those...
I'll try to talk to Mr. Pesh, but I don't have a lot of luck with that guy. He's pretty stubborn. He's pretty stubborn.
That's cute.
No, he is.
Yeah, that would be very much appreciated because the residents do have questions and concerns, and it's the only way they're going to get their answers. And then I understand it'll come back to you again and will be introduced again. Is that how it works?
Correct.
Yep.
Assuming.
Give them a month.
We're presuming there'll be changes. I mean, I guess theoretically not come back, but.
They'll get it next week, next Tuesday, correct?
Next week,
On Tuesday, so everyone.
hopefully we'll have it back by our next meeting. But as I said,
So you're looking at sometime August for
right,
adoption.
it may take longer. Again, like you said, this is a 10-year process, so we want to get it right. The whole goal of this was to make things more clear, less ambiguous. So, but it would have to be, if there are changes, it would have to be reintroduced at a public meeting, and then scheduled for a public hearing
after that.
Okay.
Easier and less costly to the residents, because every time you wanted a pole barn, you had to get variance.
Yeah, well, that one, it wasn't a concern for me.
No,
The
but
residents,
there's some other people that like pole barns. There's
Yeah.
people that like trees,
We know.
there's people that like pole
Can I
barns.
speak? Because I only have 2 minutes left. I'm sorry to cut you off, but, okay. It does say in the master plan that, quote, one of the ordinance recommendations is that buffer requirements between residential uses and non-residential uses should be enhanced and enforced through subdivision or in site plan review where current code already requires them. It also is the number one goal is to protect the rural character and quality of life in Franklin Township. And objectives for that goal number one, objective F says require substantial landscape buffering to minimize visual, noise, or other impacts of non-residential development on residential users. I'm making a formal request that we implement that ordinance recommendation on page 49 of the master plan number 26. And could you please send that to the planning board as well, because we're going to be talking about buffers. Might as well.
Is that one of their
Go the whole way.
recommendations already? She wants to send it back to them?
Well, I want them also to add the,
She wants them in reconsidering of 07 to also look at page 49, number 26, to possibly incorporate that into the same 07, correct?
or it doesn't necessarily.
Or create its own.
Yeah, create one that makes the buffers more reasonable for the current types of industries and commercial uses that are coming, because this buffer requirement was written at a time when things were smaller and different, and we were facing bigger changes and lots of pressure. So it is time to re-examine and increase buffer, and to remove the part of it that says, you know, you can just waive the buffer and put up a fence. That is something that should be done during the meeting, the board meeting, and there's a homeowner gets to discuss that, and everyone can weigh each individual situation as to whether, you know, it's warranted, rather than have an applicant immediately look at our code and go, I don't have to design a buffer because it says it's in here. That shouldn't be our way of thinking, and that's what the master plan recommendation is, that shouldn't be happening.
All right, thank you, Barbara.
Thank you so
Yep.
much. I don't think you did this back.
Oh, you broke it.
For the one that you
Come on.
emailed, are you gonna send something out in the mail again that you did last
What
time?
name?
If you were,
That's okay.
if you were in that zone, yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, Nancy Kennedy, 711 St. George Street. I know all of you are sitting up there, and so you probably don't know how incredibly frustrating it is to give up time away from your family and come out to try to participate in a public meeting and not be able to hear 1/10 of what is going on.
I heard almost nothing.
And thank you, Mr. Some incredibly brilliant people got up at this microphone tonight, and they said things that I have no doubt had incredible worth. One of the reasons I know is because I saw Committeeman Marsh paying attention politely and nodding along. And I thought, I really like Mike. I voted for Mike in the primary. Mike stands up, he does what he thinks is right. I really wish I could hear what these wonderful people are saying. It can be incredibly inconvenient to have to listen to the pesky, pesky public when you're an important elected or appointed official. But the pesky, pesky public are the ones who put you in the spot that you're in. And you're the ones who put the appointed professionals and the people on the boards in the places that they're in. So Mr. Petch, for example, Mr. Petch serves on the planning board at the discretion and appointment of the Township Committee members. Mr. Petch is also a very smart person, a very good person, a person who's lived in this community a long time. He never had a problem fielding questions when he sat up there as mayor. So to imply that Mr. Petch is the reason that there's not a public session in the planning board Maybe it's true and Joe's completely changed, but it strikes me as a little bit disingenuous. Perhaps if the committee were to let Mr. Petch know that transparency is incredibly important to you, he would consider allowing all of us to have a voice at the planning board as well as at the township committee meeting. And I will go one step further. Thank God there are people in this audience tonight who are not normally here. They no doubt were called to action because they are incredibly concerned about the direction that this township has taken, particularly regarding warehouses and environmental issues. Half of them have no idea what anybody said because, like I said, the microphone system sucks. Please fix it before the next meeting or continue to spread the perception that you don't care what we think.
I could hear every single person that came up here speak fine, so I care. Well,
They're facing you. They're facing you.
so it has nothing to do with how I listened to the community. I listened to everything everyone said. I'm sorry that the people in the back couldn't hear, but I listened intently to everything everyone said.
Wonderful. Now let me ask you this, since you very kindly engaged. So now that you know, because I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, I believe you, you didn't realize how bad it is. Now that you know, are you going to take proactive steps to make sure that at the next meeting, we can all fully hear and participate? Will you do that for us?
What do you mean by active steps? The administrator knows it's an issue. He's going to reach out to fix it. I'm not an AD person. I'm not going to be here hanging speakers.
Fabulous, but you will direct your professional who serves at your discretion to take steps to fix it.
You know, I'm really glad that all these people are here so that they can see the politics that play out in these meetings every time.
Well, they can't see the politics, sir. They can see it, but they can't hear the damn thing.
Well,
so
they can hear it.
Fix it.
They can hear it.
No, they can't. Thank you. You are wrong. And it's not politics to ask people who are elected to do their job, sir. Not at all. And if you think I'm yelling, it's not because I'm yelling at you. It's because I'm yelling so that people can hear. And thank you. And I thank you for your time. I thank everyone for being here and continuing to do everything they can to make this the kind of community that I grew up in. I don't. Did you always live here?
Yes, I did.
Wonderful. So then you should want it to be as good as it was when you were a child. The way that everyone in this room wants to make sure Franklin.
That's
is
why I
good
ran for office.
Generations. So listen to our comments and take action.
I'm listening to everyone's comments.
Thank you for your time.
Yep. Hi.
Mindy Curran, Malaga, Edgewood Ave, I don't know where I live. I'm going to piggyback on...
Can you just pull that down a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I have often listened to and watched the videos because I don't feel the need or the call to come out here. I can't hear anything on them either. Who do I hear? Dave Marshall, because he has a booming voice and he's excited. Many people don't have the ability to project and be confident. You can hear. I couldn't hear you because you have your microphone turned away. Only when you're irritated do you turn it.
I turn it every time someone's speaking so they can't even hear me talk.
What? I'm sorry.
Every time someone's speaking, I turn it away from me so they can't hear me talk over them.
Why are you talking over them? I mean, you should be listening. Who are you talking to?
If I have a question on something on the agenda, I might turn to the mayor and ask him a question. I don't want to interrupt someone who's speaking, so I do it.
Thank you for your, but it's not working. So maybe get a Post-it note or, when you're talking, you're not aware that you're not moving the mic towards your face. I'm bringing it to your attention, so just be mindful of that. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. We can't hear you in here. We can't hear you on the video. Please. We can't hear. We're not deaf. We just can't hear. Thank you.
Turn the air conditioner off.
No, don't do that. It's hot enough in here.
Yeah, right.
I'm sweating.
Can everybody hear me okay? No. Okay.
I think you need to speak up.
Okay. Testing.
There we go.
Yeah, but now you're going to have to keep talking that same...
I know, that's fine. I'm not yelling at you. Hi. Good evening, members of the committee. My name is Rachel Hess. I'm a resident at 47 Shea Avenue. I'm speaking tonight over the deep concerns I have for the proposed rezoning and of the implications for ordinances 625 and 725. This proposed shift from agricultural to high-impact commercial zoning directly threatens our family's livelihood, the long-term health of our farmland, and the rural identity that Franklin Township has worked so hard to preserve. While these ordinances are framed as aligning with the 2024 master plan, they risk opening the door to incompatible development in areas that were meant to remain protected and productive. We are not anti-growth, but we are pro-responsible, community-centered planning. Before any decisions are made, I respectfully ask the committee to consider the following questions. In regards to Ordinance 625, which is the land use in residential agricultural districts, what specific protections are being removed or added for land currently zoned residential agricultural?
You're saying that's changing?
I'm sorry?
They're changing that? You're saying, that you're telling us they're changing that?
I'm asking what kind of protections protect residents that are currently zoned residential agricultural that fall within areas that are trying to get rezoned?
Or are you talking about the 07 that we sent back to the planning board?
06.
06, okay.
Yeah, this is directly for 06. For example, on my road, 47 Shea Ave, there is a property that sold 2 years ago at Sheriff's Sale, Block 2102, Lot 13. It is being proposed as an auto auction. The bigger company that owns it, their name is Cofar. It was proposed to be a sublot, which is apparently has plans for 35 acres to have basically a car lot and an auto auction, who primarily operates online but has heavy traffic in an area that has been a dead-end road and a residential agricultural as well as wetlands area for over 50 years. So with this rezoning master plan, what kind of protections are there for people like us who have been residents and farmers that provide the community with food and good soil and kind heart? I mean, how are we protected from things like this being built and rezoned in areas that really don't have any business being rezoned?
Are you referring to the building on next to Shea? That used to be an old dumpster place, that one?
No, under the tower line, I think, around the tower line and all that back in there. They bought it from the township. They didn't buy it from a sheriff's sale.
Okay. So that doesn't answer my question, though.
Well, I'm not gonna really talk about that application in particular.
Make that change, not making that change. So there's nothing in front of the governing body to do that.
That goes to the zoning board.
Right.
That's where they'll present their case. They will not present their case, or their case won't be heard here. Will not be heard here.
My original question, though, was what kind of protections do we have in regards to this rezoning, including the buffers for...
But the process at the zoning board is geared towards that. Is that what you're talking about? It involves balancing issues by the board through submissions, sworn testimony, public input, and reports of professionals, quote unquote, on both sides. So there's an entire process. It's a different standard. It's a deliberative standard set by law as to the obligations and the protections. The protections written into the land use statute, part of Title 40 New Jersey Code, that provide those protections to all residents in all towns, and provide that forum of the zoning board hearing to make those concerns known and move in all directions.
And
It's a very deliberative process.
And part of that process too is mailings to any, like the lady here spoke about with the one ordinance that was on here that actually got sent back. There was a request made by Cindy Merckx to send out letters. The applicants for any property like that have to send out letters notifying anyone in that area that this is what they're applying for the board, this is when the hearing is going to be, so that they can come and be heard. But that's an independent land use board, that's not the Township Committee.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If I may, in regards to Ordinance 725, I could finish. Okay, thank you. My question is, what is the justification for shifting land from agricultural to high-intensity commercial zoning or highway commercial in areas where they are typically residential, agricultural, or farmland.
In this case, in this specific one, I know there was a few residents.
Not this specific property, I'm speaking for.
I'm not talking about that, but they're in specific residents. Some of them are here that asked the question, why is everything around me highway commercial and I'm residential RA? And we looked into it and there was really no reason why 6 or 7 of these properties were in that. So this is just something to change that because they wanted their property, like their neighbors on Route 40, to be highway commercial. And that's the purpose of that.
But that's one of the ones that was sent back, that was tabled, so that has to go back to the
Yes.
planning board. Yeah.
So we can bring up our further questions at the next meeting.
Thank you.
For that, yeah. There'll
In
be
general, in general, we represent a larger voice for this community, if you will.
Okay.
But thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to close the second public portion?
Motion to close second public portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Committee reports? Mark?
No.
Mike?
No, nothing.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we had some concerned citizens questioning past overtime, and so I looked at prior payroll periods across 5 years. I looked at every employee who earned overtime and identified that everybody who received overtime was contractually eligible for overtime. And also, congratulations to everybody who won the primary. Best of luck in the general election. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate what Mr. Kennedy said. Gulce had a successful school year, successful spring campaign and all their activities, graduation, and happy Father's Day to any fathers out there. With that said, Brian, he said he didn't have anything earlier.
No.
Matt already had his 10 minutes. Need a motion to close.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.